Article 260, Responsibility of a participant in a duel. The penalty of reclusion temporal shall be imposed upon any person who shall kill his adversary in a duel. Killing his adversary in a duel. If a person kills their opponent in a duel, they will face the penalty of reclusion temporal or imprisonment ranging from 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. If he shall inflict upon the latter physical injuries only, he shall suffer the penalty provided therefore according to their nature. If a participant inflicts physical injury on their adversary without killing them, the penalty will depend on the severity of those injuries as specified in the law. In any other case, the combatants shall suffer the penalty of arresto mayor, although no physical injuries have been inflicted. If the duel occurs but no physical injuries are inflicted, the combatants will still face a penalty of arresto mayor, or imprisonment ranging from 1 month and 1 day to 6 months. The second shall in all events be punished as accomplices. The seconds or those who assist the duelists will also be punished as accomplices regardless of whether any physical injuries occurred. This article emphasizes the article consequences of engaging in a duel, reflecting the state's stance against such violent confrontation even when both parties may consent to participate. Next. Article 261, Challenging to a duel. The penalty of prison correctional in its minimum period shall be imposed upon any person who shall challenge another or incite another to give or accept a challenge to a duel, or shall scoff or decry another publicly for having refused to accept a challenge to fight a duel. The article penalizes any person who challenges another to a duel, incites another to give or accept a challenge to a duel, scoffs or at or publicly decries another for refusing accept challenge to a duel. Penalty. The penalty for committing any of the above acts is prison correctional. Its minimum period. This typically means imprisonment ranging from 6 months and 1 day to 2 years and 4 months. Before we start in chapter 2, I will add some in Article 261. The relevance of dual outcome. It is important to note that whether or not the duel actually took place is immaterial to the offense. The act of challenging or inciting is sufficient for liability. This provision reflects the legal system's stance against dueling as a means of resolving disputes, emphasizing that such challenges are not only socially unacceptable but also punishable under the law. Overall, Article 261 serves as a deterrent against the culture of dueling and promotes conflict resolution through legal means rather than violence. Chapter 2, Physical Injuries. Article 262, Mutilation. The penalty of reclusion temporal to reclusion perpetua shall be imposed upon any person who shall intentionally mutilate another, depriving him either totally or partially or some essential organ of reproduction. What is mutilation? It means that act of severely damaging or ruining something, especially by violently removing a part, It often refers to the act causing serious injury to a person, resulting disfigurement or the loss of a limb or other important body part. So, depression of reproductive organs. The penalty of reclusion temporal is imprisonment ranging to 12 years and 1 day to 20 years. To reclusion perpetua, life imprisonment is imposed on any who intentionally mutilates another, depriving them either totally or partially of an essential organ of reproduction. This applies to cases like castration. 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 Example, a man driven by anger intentionally castrates another man during a fight. Legal implication. This act constitutes mutilation by depriving the victim of essential organ reproductive, making the perpetrator liable for reclusion temporal or reclusion perpetua. Next, other intentional mutilation. Any other intentional wait. Any other intentional mutilation shall be punished by prison mayor in its medium and maximum periods. Imprisonment ranging from 6 years and 1 day to 12 years, its medium and maximum periods. Intentionality. The act of mutilation must be intentional, meaning the perpetrator must have acted with the purpose of causing harm. Essential organ. The law specifically mentions the deprivation of essential organ of reproduction, which includes organ like the testes or ovaries. Severity of punishment. The severity of the penalty depends on the nature of the mutilation. Deprivation of reproductive organ carries a heavier penalty than the other forms of mutilation. In this article, reflects the legal system's condemnation of acts that cause significant physical harm and violate the bodily integrity of others. And it underscores the seriousness of intentional mutilation aims to deter such offenses.
Good morning everyone. Now, we're going to tackle Article 263 or Physical Injuries under Title 8 Crime Against Persons. Under Article 263, it is committed by any person who shall wound, beat, or assault another. So now, how is the crime serious physical injuries is committed? The first one is wounding, beating, assaulting, and number 4, administering injury substance. Yung first 3 is governed by Article 263, yung last one is governed by Article 264, which we will be discussing in the next. So what are the instances kung kailan yung injury is considered serious physical injuries? Instances. First, when the injured person becomes insane, imbecile, impotent, or blind in consequence of the physical injuries inflicted. First instance, insane o nabaliw yung victim, imbecile, naging tanga o bobo or isip bata. Impotent is inability to copulate and sterility or hindi kayang makipag-sex, blind total. Second instance, when the injured person, A. loses the use of speech or the power to hear or to smell, or loses an eye, hand, a foot, an arm, or a leg. Letter B is loses the use of any such member or yung una ay nawalan ka, dito naman sa pangalawa yung hindi mo na siya magamit. And the last one is letter C, becomes incapacitated for the work in which he was habitually engaged and as a consequence of the physical injuries inflicted. Example dito sa number 3, kung ang work mo ay isang announcer sa radio, tapos nawalan ka ng boses, so hindi ka na makakapagtrabaho. Next, third instance. A. Become deforms. May tatlong requisites upang makonsidered na serious physical injuries ang isang deformity. Number 1, physical ugliness, and etc. Yung deformity ay nasa labas at nakikita siya at hindi siya natatakpan ng damit or anuman. Example ay deformity sa muka. Ano ang ibig sabihin natin sa permanent meaning? Di siya naku-cure naturally like scar o peklat sa muka. So, kung yung victim ay nagkapeklat sa muka, considered itong serious physical injuries. Kahit later on, magpa-plastic surgery man siya, physical injuries pa din yun. For instances, when the injured person becomes ill or incapacitated for labor for more than 30 days, but must not be more than 90 days, as a result of the physical injuries inflicted. Now we're going to the next article, which is Article 264, Administering Injurious Substances or Beverages. Article 264, it is committed by any person who, without intent to kill, shall inflict upon another by any serious physical injury by knowingly administering to him any injurious substance or beverages, or by taking advantage of his weakness of mind of credulity. May tatlong elements upang mag-apply sa article na ito. The offender inflicted serious physical injuries upon another. 2. It was done by knowingly administering to him any injurious substances or beverages or taking bad advantage. Dito sa number 2, so yung victim ay nagsuffer ng injuries na considered as a physical injuries at nagawa ito ng offender sa pamamagitan ng pagpapainom ng serious substance or beverages or tinake advantage niya yung tiwala ng victim. The last element, number 3, he had no intent to kill. And the last article is Article 265 or less serious physical injuries. Article 265, it is committed by any person who shall inflict upon another physical injuries not described in Articles 263 and 264, but which shall incapacitate the offended party for labor for 10 days or more, or shall require medical assistance for the same period. May dalawang elements upang mag-apply ang article na ito. First, offended party is incapacitated for labor for 10 days or more, but not more than 30 days, or shall require medical attention for the same period of time. So, yung first element, so yung victim as a result ng injuries na na-inflict sa kanya, ay nawalan siya ng kakayahang magtrabaho ng 10 days o higit pa. Pero hindi higit ng 30 days o yung injury ay nag-result ng medical attendance for 10 days or more. Like kailangan mo magpabalik-balik, magpa-check up, etc. Basta hindi din higit ng 30 days, pag more than 30 days kasi, hindi na less serious physical injuries yung nakomit. Second element, physical injuries must not be those described in Articles 263 and 264. Second element, so dapat yung injury hindi considered as serious physical injuries. Example, si Pedro sinaksak si Juan without intent to kill. Si Juan ay na-hospital ng 2 days pero hindi siya makapagtrabaho for 29 days. Dahil sabi ng doktor kung magtatrabaho siya ay bubuka ang sugat niya. At hintayin muna humilom. Dito na commit ni Pedro ay less serious physical injuries. Hindi lang yung pagka-hospital ang binibilang, pati din yung days na hindi nakapagtrabaho. If 31 days siyang hindi makapagtrabaho, serious physical injuries yung crime. That's all. This is my report. Thank you.
Kidnapping and Serious Illegal Detention, Article 267. If detention is committed by any private individual who shall kidnap or detain another, or in any other manner deprive him of his liberty. Number 1. If the kidnapping or detention shall have lasted more than 3 days. Number 2. If it shall have been committed simulating public authority. Number 3. If any serious physical injury shall have been inflicted upon person kidnapped or detained, or if threats to kill him shall have been made. Number 4. If the person kidnapped or detained shall be a minor, female, or a public officer. This crime is also committed when the kidnapping or detention was committed for the purpose of extorting ransom for the victim or any other person. May apat na elements ang article na ito. Number 1. Offender is a private individual. Ang offender ay private person kapag public officer yung offender at may duty siya to arrest possible crime is arbitrary detention at walang duty to arrest considered siyang private person or he is acting in his private capacity and thus kung nagkidnap yung public officer pwedeng pumasok itong article na ito. Number 2, he kidnaps or detains another or in any other manners deprive the latter of his liberty. Ano ang meaning ng kidnap? To kidnap is to forcibly take a person from where he is arrived to be, such as his place of work, residence, rest, and recreation, school, street, park, or public place, and bring him somewhere else. The taking is always without the consent of a victim. Ano naman ang detained? To detain is deprive a person of his liberty or restrict his freedom of locomotion or movement and may not involve a kidnapping. Dito sa detained, pwede siyang sumama sa offender ng kusa, kaso gusto na niyang umalis is ayaw siyang paalisin. In that case, may illegal detention. Take note po, ang intention din po dito ng offender is to deprive the liberty of the offended party, otherwise iba ang crime na nakomit niya. Number 3, act of detention or kidnapping must be illegal. Kailan ba legal? Pag nakakomit ka ng crime, di ba uhuliin ka at ikukulong? Justified yun or yung may mental illness like baliw, na nakikinuhat din ito to protect them and other people around them. Otherwise, kung hindi justified yung pagkuha sa'yo, it can be considered as kidnapping or illegal detention. Number 4. In the commission of the offense, any of the following circumstances is present. A. Kidnapping or detention lasts for more than 3 days. So, dinetain ka ng higit 3 araw, kidnapping and serious detention na ang crime. Kahit kinulong ka lang na 4 na araw, kahit walang ibang ginawa sa'yo, basta more than 3 days yung pagka-detain sa'yo, kidnapping and serious illegal detention na po iyon. B. It is committed simulating public authority. Example, yung offender nagpanggap na pulis, in-invite niya yung victim sa police station para sa alleged investigation ng isang kaso, pero sa iba sila pumunta. It is material kung ilang araw ka na-detain yung victim, as long as nagpanggap yung offender na may public authority siya. C. Any serious physical injuries are inflicted upon the person kidnapped or detained or threats to kill him are made. Pinagbantaan yung biktima, napapatayin siya ng offender kung hindi siya sasama sa kanya or kung aalis siya sa isang lugar kung saan siya dinala, or yung victim ay nagsuffer ng serious physical injuries during the kidnapping or detention. D. The person kidnapped or detained is a minor, female, or a public officer. Kung ang victim ay babae, bata, or public officer, immaterial din kung ilang araw sila na-detain, kahit isang araw lang yan basta yung victim ay bata, babae, o public officer, kidnapping and serious illegal detention ang nakomit ng offender. Kidnapping for ransom. It is a situation where the victim is held hostage until demands of the kidnapper are met. Ransom is any consideration whether in form of money, articles of value, or services of favors for the release of a person. No specific form of ransom is required to consummate the felony of kidnapping for ransom. To consummate the felony of kidnapping for ransom, as long as the ransom was intended as bargaining chip in the exchange of the victim's freedom. Effect if the offender voluntarily release the offended party, wala po siyang effect, hindi po siya mitigating circumstances. Slight illegal detention, Article 268. It is committed by any private individual who shall commit the crimes described in Article 267 without the attendance of any of the circumstances enumerated therein. May 4 na elements upang mag-apply ang article na ito. Number 1, offender is a private individual. Number 2, he kidnaps or detains another. or in any other manner deprives him of his liberty. Number 3, act of kidnapping or detention is illegal. Dito sa first to third elements ay parehas po ito sa na-discuss natin sa Article 267, which is the kidnapping and serious illegal detention. Number 4, crime is committed without the attendance of any of the circumstances enumerated in Article 267. Ito yung apat na circumstances dapat wala ni isa doon ang nangyari. Kung may isang present, Article 267 po ang na-violate and not the Article 268. Privilege mitigating circumstance. When the offender voluntarily releases the person so kidnapped or detained. Kailan may privilege mitigating circumstance? Dito sa crime na ito or instant kung kailan mas mababa sa 1 degree ang penalty. Diba sa Article 267 walang effect ang voluntary release, pero dito sa slight illegal detention may effect po yung voluntary release. Magiging privilege mitigating circumstance siya, pero para mag-apply yung mitigating circumstance na ito, may tatlong requirements. Number 1, the offender voluntarily releases the person so kidnapped or detained within 3 days from the commencement of the detention. Kung nirelease yung victim on the 4th day, wala na po yung effect na na-consummate na po yung crime under Article 267 or kidnapping and serious illegal detention. So kung nirelease siya after 2 days, pwedeng pumasok ito mitigating circumstances. Number 2, without having attained the purpose intended. So nirelease yung victim before niya makuha yung gusto niyang makuha sa victim. Number 3, before the institution of criminal proceedings against him. Hindi pa po umabot sa prosecutor or wala pa pong na-file na complaint para mag-apply itong privilege mitigating circumstances. So, itong tatlong nabanggit kapag present siya para mag-apply yung privilege mitigating circumstance. Unlawful arrest, Article 269. It is committed by any person who is in any case other than those authorized by law or without reasonable ground, therefore, shall arrest or detain another for the purpose of delivering him to the proper authorities. May tatlong elements upang mag-apply ang article na ito. Number 1, offender arrests or detains another person. Offender is any person, whether a public officer or private individual. However, the public officer must not be vested with the authority to arrest or detain a person or will not act in his official capacity, otherwise Article 124 or arbitrary detention applicable and not Article 269. Yung offender ay walang duty to arrest kung meron man nung time na nanghuli siya, wala siyang power either naka-day off or naka-leave siya. Number 2, purpose of the offender to deliver is to deliver him to the proper authorities. So, huliin para ikulong sa presinto or para makapag-file ng kaso. If the purpose is not to deliver the person to the proper authority, this crime will be illegal detention under Article 267 and 268 of the Revised Penal Code, since the person arrested will be necessarily be deprived of his liberty. And last, number 3, arrest or detention is not authorized by law or there is no reasonable ground. Therefore, nangyari itong unlawful arrest pag hindi pasok sa tatlong instant kung kailan may valid warrantless arrest. As a rule po kasi, hindi ka pwedeng manghuli unless may hawak kang warrant of arrest. May tatlong exemption po dito, or ito yung mga tinatawag natin valid warrantless arrest. Number 1, arrest in flagrante delicto. Number 2, hot pursuit arrest. And number 3, arrest of an escapee. Period of detention. There is no period of detention fixed by law. What is controlling is the motive of the offender.
Article 270. Kidnapping and failure to return a minor. It is committed by any person who, being entrusted with the custody of a minor person, shall deliberately fail to restore the latter to his parents or guardian. May dalawa tayong elements. Ang una, the offender is entrusted with the custody of a minor person. Yung offender ay pinagkatiwalaan sa kanya yung pag-iingat at pag-aalaga ng bata. Pangalawa, he deliberately fails to restore the said minor to his parents or guardian. Ibig sabihin, yung offender ay sadyang hindi ibinalik sa magulang or guardian. Next is, who are liable? Una, any person entrusted with the custody of a minor person. Pwede dito ang auntie, uncle, yaya or other relatives or kapitbahay or kahit sinong pinagkakatiwalaan. Pangalawa, parents of the minor person. Yes, pwede ding maging liable ang parents ng bata. For example, may mag-asawa din naghiwalay sila. Ang custody sa kanila ay automatically sa nanay or other relative ng mother. If nasa malayo or working abroad ang nanay, under the family code, the father only have visitation rights. Kung ang tatay hiniram ang bata ng isang araw, then bigo siyang maibalik ito, liable siya sa Article 270 or kidnapping and failure to return a minor. Pero kung hindi naman sinasadya na hindi maibalik or naging busy lang siya, pwede siya maabsuelto kasi sabi sa Revised Penal Code, deliberately or sadya nang hindi binalik. Article 271, inducing a minor to abandon his home. It is committed by anyone who shall induce a minor to abandon the home of his parents or guardians or the person entrusted with his custody. Meron tayong dalawang elements. Una, a minor is living in the home of his parents or guardian or the person entrusted with his custody. Ibig sabihin, yung home dito ay kung saan nakatira yung bata. It doesn't matter kung sila ay umuupa. Pangalawa, offender induces said minor to abandon such home. Inducement must be actual, committed with criminal intent and determined by a will to cause damage. Yung offender talagang sinabing maglayas yung bata. Take note that it is not necessary that the minor actually abandon the home to commit the crime. What constitutes the crime is the act of inducing a minor to abandon his home or the home of his guardians. And it is not necessary that the minor actually abandons the home. So na-consummate niya itong crime na ito by the mere fact by inducing or persuading the minor to abandon his home. Naglayas man o hindi ang bata, na-consummate niya na yung crime. Article 272 or slavery. It is committed by anyone who shall purchase, sell, kidnap, or detain a human being for the purpose of enslaving him. Meron tayong dalawang elements. Una, offender purchases, sells, kidnaps, or detain a human being. Si offender ay nagbenta, bumili ng kidnap or ng kulong ng tao. Yung offender ay pwedeng kahit sino, private, individual, or public officer. Ang victim din ay pwede rin kahit sino basta ito ay human being. Pangalawa, the purpose of the offender is to enslave such human. Ang layunin ng offender ay alilahin o alipinin yung victim. If the offender has other motives, ibang crime naman ang nakomit. Pwedeng ito ay kidnapping. So, kailan naman tataas ang penalty? When the purpose of the offender is to assign the offended party to some immoral traffic. Example nito ay, gagawing prostitute yung victim.
Article 272. Article 272. It is committed by anyone who shall purchase, sell, kidnap, or detain a human being for the purpose of enslaving him. Ang artikulo 272 ay tumutukoy sa krimen ng pang-aalipin. Sinasaad nito na ang sinumang bumili, nagbenta, kumuha, o nagkulong ng isang tao para maging alipin ay nagkakasala sa krimeng ito. Elements: offender purchases, sells, kidnaps, or detains a human being, and number 1. Ang nagkasala ay dapat pumili, nagbenta, kumuha, o nagkulong ng isang tao. Number 2. The purpose of the offender is to enslave such human. Ang intensyong nagkasala ay ang ipaalipin ang taong iyon. Qualifying circumstances. When the purpose of the offender is to assign the offended party to some immoral traffic. Kung ang layunin ng nag-alipin ay gamitin ang biktima sa masasamang gawain ng prostitution, mas mabigat ang parusa. Exploitation of child laborer. Article 273. Article 273. It is committed by anyone who under the pretext or embracing himself of a debt incurred by an ascendant, guardian, or person entrusted with the custody of a minor shall gains the latter's will return him in his service. Paggamit ng bata sa trabaho para lang maibayad ang utang ng magulang tagapag-alaga nito ay krimen. Elements: offender retains a minor in his service. May batang pinagtatrabaho. Number 2. It is against the will of the minor and ayaw ng bata ang pagtatrabaho. Number 3. It is under the pretext or embracing himself of a debt incurred by an ascendant, guardian, or person entrusted with the custody of such minor. Dahilan ng amo pagbabayad ng utang ng magulang o tagapag-alaga. Service rendered under compulsion in payment of debt. Article 274. It is committed by any person who, in order to require or enforce the payment of a debt, shall compel the debtor to work for him against his will as household servant or farm laborer. Pagpilit sa isang taong may utang na magtrabaho sa pilitan para mabayaran ang utang ay krimen. Elements: offender compels a debtor to work for him either as household servant or farm laborer. Pinilit ng may sala ang isang may utang na magtrabaho para sa kanya bilang kasambahay o manggagawa sa bukid. Number 2. It is against the debtor's will. Labag ito sa kalooban ng may utang. Number 3. Ang layunin ay ang pagkuha o pagpilit sa pagbabayad ng utang. The purpose is to require or enforce the payment of a debt.